Okay, I want to thank you guys for coming out here this morning. Tonight, I'm used to saying that. Okay, today we have a Siyum Chumash that we're doing. Basically, it's a big effort that was on behalf of several people. You can have a seat, Mark. It was a big effort on behalf of several people, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes. There's also, when I get my chance to speak, I'll speak as well. But for now, we'll have more important people speaking. I wanted to give the word to Rav Yochanan. How old Rav Yochanan?
Good morning. Good morning. This is a very big day for the whole community. A lot of people participated in learning and supporting this shiur. And I just want to thank those who support us financially and those that help to organize it. Ruven, where's Ruven? Oh, Ruven helped to start this shiur. He's the one who introduced me to Shalom, and we started this shiur in January of last year. Ruven Mulakandov. So he has the special zechut, and since last January, which is a year and 3 months, in not such a long time, we finished Baruch Hashem a lot. We finished Sefer Yoshua with many reviews. We finished Sefer Shoftim with few reviews, and now we're in the middle of Shemuel and Chumash. This is the second time we're finishing the Chumash. First time we finished all the mitzvot, 613 mitzvot of Chumash, putting them in the right place, speaking what the mitzvah is. And this is the second cycle where we basically made a summary, an outline of the whole Torah, of the whole Chumash. And this is a very important kind of learning, because we go through Chumash every year, but a lot of times, even a person who has done it many years in a row, he doesn't necessarily know what every part means, and he doesn't necessarily know where each event occurs, whether it's where it occurs in history or where is it found in Chumash. But with our kind of learning, it allows us to clearly explain every part of Torah, to summarize it in a way that will be easy to review. As they say in Russian, повторение мать учения, which means the mother of learning is review. That means that if you don't have a mother, you cannot have a baby. And if you don't have review is the mother of learning. If you don't have review, you don't have learning. And that's what it says. The Gemara says, someone who learns and doesn't review, it's like having a baby and then burying it live. Why? Because if you learn, you spend time, just like a lady spends 9 months carrying the baby. But then, after you finish learning, if you don't review, after you have the baby, you deliver it, you just abandon it. And you forget about the baby dies. You forget about your learning, learning goes away. But it's hard. We hear of cases that high school girls give birth, and they don't want to take care of the baby, and they throw it out. So too happens, unfortunately, with many people who learn Torah. They spend a lot of time, whether they went to yeshiva 4 or 5 years, but then they say, how can I review all that? It's so much, so hard to take care of the baby. For example, you can take just an example. That's true for anything. It takes, let's say, 6 months full time to learn an area of Shulchan Aruch. Let's say Basar B'Chalav, 6 months. Then a person, after he finished, he says to himself, it's good if I review it so that it's fresh, the halacha. But he says, I cannot spend another 6 months of my life to review it. So he says, okay, I'll try to rely on my memory, I'll try to remember it, and then with time he forgets everything. And then you ask him a question, he gives you a wrong answer. Why is that? Because to review just plain as it is without any preparation is going to take you almost the same time as learning it first time. And nobody wants to spend so much time on review. So the goal is, when you learn it first time, to prepare the ground so that when you come back to it, it's going to be easy. It's going to be faster and easier. And how do you do that? One is to use your own sefer, to use your own book, so that you learn from the same book every day. And when you do review, for sure you're going to have some notes. That's even if you don't have any organization. Still, by the way, you're going to make notes, explanations, translations, and then next cycle is going to help you. But if you are organized, and Baruch Hashem, we have Shalom, who is
very organized,
who is an expert student,
2 years already.
And we can learn from him how to learn better, how to learn with organization and prepare the ground for your future reviews. So when you learn, it's good to also make a summary, to highlight the main parts, so that when you want to review next time, you don't have to read every word of the text. Any text you take, there is a lot of repetition. Whether it's Chumash, the sentences sometimes are long, the events sometimes are repeated. Or if let's say you learn Shulchan Aruch, so you're going to learn the Mechaber, the Shulchan Aruch itself. Then when you read the Mifarshim, they're going to first quote the Shulchan Aruch, and then they're going to comment on it. Then you read another Mifaresh, he's going to quote the Shulchan Aruch, he's going to quote the previous commentator, and then he's going to add his comment. And then you read the fourth one, he's going to quote for the fourth time the whole sequence. And every Mifaresh you learn, you're going to repeat the same information and again and again and again. So if you learn Shulchan Aruch for 6 months, it's true, you're going to go through all the Mifarshim and you're going to understand it well. But then when you review it, you don't need to review the same information 4 or 5 times from different Mifarshim. So if you highlight the main parts, then you just do one review, and with that review, you reviewed all information without repetitions, extra repetitions, and it's going to condense your review instead of 6 months to maybe 1 day. 1 day. And that's what we try to do with everything we learn, because it's not worth it to work on something for a year and then discard it. So we said that anything we learn, we're going to make a note in the book, not in a notebook, because the notebook can get lost. Then you have to have 2 things in front of you, like this. In the book, you have it. And the notes are important: dates, numbers, explanations, translations, different opinions, halakha, practical halakha that we can, because you read the Chumash and sometimes you think that's the halakha, but the Chumash means something else. You need to have the oral Torah to know what is the meaning of the mitzvah. So we write what the halakha is. So the next time, when, let's say now it's Parshat Acharei Mot Kedoshim. Acharei Mot Kedoshim has a lot of mitzvot. Just Kedushim itself has 50 mitzvot. If you don't have the notes, next time you're not going to remember all the 50 mitzvot. Let's say you went to a shiur that taught you all the mitzvot. Next year, if you remember one of them, it's going to be good. But 50, nobody's going to remember 50. But like this, you have them. On Shabbat, you come to the synagogue, even if you didn't have time during the week at all. You come to the synagogue, and as they read, you see, oh, there is mitzvah like this, there is mitzvah like this, and you review all 50 mitzvot every year for the rest of your life. And the same thing with outline. You come home and your wife asks, "Can you say a Dvar Torah? What did you learn? What does it say in this week's parsha?" And you say, "I don't remember. I didn't have time to read. Last year I read. Tomorrow morning they're going to read in synagogue. Maybe tomorrow I'll look at it. Right now I can't tell you." But like this, you're going to take it to say, you're going to say, "Give me 1 minute." You're going to take 1 minute, read all the outline, the summary, and that's it. You're ready. You have all the Divrei Torah, all the inspirational ideas highlighted, and you can tell your wife, and she's going to be so proud of you, and your children even more proud, because a lot of times children come from school and they tell you Divrei Torah of their Rebbe, and sometimes they will, if you're quiet, then it's okay. They're not going to know that you don't know, but if they ask you a question, or sometimes from school they send you questions to ask your child. And let's say you ask your child, and the child doesn't know. So then you're supposed to give the answer to the child. And what if you also don't know?
How they give the answers?
Sometimes they give answers. Sometimes, if it's a simple question, they assume the parent knows and they don't give an answer. On Shabbat, you can't go to Google. And you're stuck, and it's embarrassing in front of your wife and in front of your children. So, any way you look at it, it's a great benefit to learn in a way that you can afterwards summarize it, and review it again and again. That's why our Chachamim said that person must review Torah every year 2 times plus translation, which means total of 3 times, at least. This is just the minimum. But the review, the Shnai Mikra V'Echad Targum, 3 times you have to review. They're not talking about learning, but the children learn Chumash for 5 years. From 5 till 10, they're learning Chumash. So first 5 years you have to devote to learning a book, and only then you review it 3 times a year. And like this you have to do with everything. You learn it, spend a lot of time to clarify it, understand it, and then you review it few times a year. So, not to keep everyone hungry, I want to invite whoever has time to join us for the next cycle. We're going to go through Chumash again, doing a different style of learning, but again with review and understanding, and we're continuing our study of Tanakh. We're now in the middle of Shemuel, and as we finish a Sefer in Tanakh, we go back and we review everything we've learned before, and it only takes a couple days. So as we finish the Sefer Shmuel, we're going to review Shoftim, we're going to review Yehoshua, and we're going to review Shmuel again before going to the next one. And we also do Halakha. Halakha is very important, and the Halakha, also, if you learn halakha once, as I said, and then you forget about it, it's as if you didn't learn it. We have a mitzvah of learning Torah, and the mitzvah of learning Torah is the greatest. But in addition to the mitzvah of learning Torah, there is another mitzvah. It's called Yidiot HaTorah, and meaning having the knowledge of Torah. Learning is one thing, but then knowing it is the other thing. So if you just learn Torah, you're going to get one mitzvah, meaning while you're learning, you get a lot of mitzvot, but that's just one whole mitzvah. After you stop learning, that's it, no more mitzvah. But while you're knowing it, if you still remember the information, then you have a mitzvah every second of your life for the rest of your life. And you live with it, and the information helps you. It's like you learned how to drive. If you forget right after and you cannot drive, then what was it worth? You still cannot drive. So to here, if I learned the halachot of Shabbat, but then I forgot, I still cannot keep Shabbat. So halakha is very important to review consistently. And if you have a blank sefer, you can't really review. So for halakha, it's especially important to highlight and make the final halakha by every paragraph. What do we hold like? What is must? What is optional? What is midoraita? What is miderabanan? So all that is very important, and we do that also. We're learning halakha. So whoever can join us, please join us, and whoever cannot, Bezat Hashem, with technology, it can be available at all times of the day and all places. Thank you.
Zach, put on this cool thing. I always wanted to wear one of these. I always got jealous when I saw people on Torah anytime wearing these.
You made it.
Not yet. Maybe a couple more rounds of these Siyums. So just wanted to say thank you guys for coming. Want to thank the rabbis, obviously. Rabbi Israel was one of the first people to get me involved in learning. There was one time I was actually surprised because Rabbi Israel used to always say, "Oh, you guys want to come and learn, come and learn, come and learn." We're learning in the morning, and I thought he had a big group. And I came, I see he's the only guy sitting over there and learning. I came, I joined him. Baruch Hashem, we got more people involved. And that was back, I don't know, about 5 years ago. But it just shows that there's a lack of people that dedicate time to learning. Because there's obviously very good teachers out there. There's very good Rebbeim. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's just people think that they can replace learning with other mundane activities, including work and everything else. So I just want to thank you, Rav Yisrael, bringing me in over here. It was we started this minyan back a long time ago, about 15 years ago or something like that, and ever since we've been together. So now I went to the next step. I started learning Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan also shed a lot of light on me with these classes, and I have a big gratitude to Rav Yochanan when he comes here. Hopefully he'll hear.
This started before Nets or after Nets?
This started after Nets.
Hour of Nets. Now we got that.
This started after Nets, yeah. So my friend over here, Ruben Mulajanov, Chazan, Gibor, is saying that it's because of Nets, the zechut of Nets, that we started learning. And it's very possible, actually, because once we started praying Nets over here, a lot of things happened, Baruch Hashem. A lot of good things happened. A lot of people have been changing. A good example is Mr. Azario over here. He's a product of the Nets Minyan.
The first one here every day.
He is, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for joining us. Rav, I was just thanking you for everything that you do. This guy is a wealth of knowledge. As everybody knows, he's very humble. Monks, I don't know what that has to do with it, but okay. So I just want to thank you very much, Rav, for everything that you do for us. Obviously, I want to thank Beit Gabriel also because they give us a place to stay and to learn, and that's a big thing of it as well. Besides that, more importantly and most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife. She lets me come out here and she supports me and she always pushes me, even though this conception of Nets actually happened because of my wife, because we learned about Nets in the Masechta Brachot. But we kept it alone for a while, and then my wife was like, "You know what? Why don't you just start praying Nets? Why don't you guys make a Nets minyan?" Like, I don't know. And then I came up to Rabbi Israel, and he was like, "Okay, let's go, let's do it." And we got Baruch Hashem guys, and from there, everything else is history, and hopefully we'll see a good future. Okay, I'm gonna give I have like a long lecture that I wanted to say, but I guess I'll make it short because there's other people that want to speak over here. I'll try to condense it. There's a lot of good points that I want to bring over, a lot of words of inspiration that the religious stuff is going to come more from the rabbis, but I'll speak because I've studied a little bit on like principles of success and principles of whatever. You guys you'll see, and I'll try to tie it into learning, and you guys hopefully will come out of here energized bunnies. So the reason why you're here today is because your soul aspires and wants and craves to learn. It craves learning. You're here not for a brit, you're here for a Siyum Chumash. You're here for a Siyum Chumash, which is a big thing. It was a big effort on behalf of several people in this class. So I think, like I was saying before, the learning part is very, very important, and we are not valuing the learning. Now, for those people that do value learning, and I'm sure everybody here wants to make some time to learn, I'm going to go a little bit into detail of what needs to be done. Now, we have to make goals. Now, reading a book, or reading a chapter in a book, listening to lectures, they're all great. As Rav Shmuel says, they're all cute things to do. So my point over here is that we need to go about learning. We need to make learning goals. What learning goals? It's a systematic way of learning to finish Tanakh, learning to finish the whole Talmud, Mishnah, and the halachot and everything, Shulchan Aruch, in a systematic form, which is what we're doing with Rav Yochanan right now. We're learning it in a system so that you can finish everything within your lifetime, and you can do many, many reviews, as Rav Yochanan mentioned recently. So there's a nice saying that if you don't know where you're going, anywhere will get you there. It's very powerful. If you don't know where you're going, anywhere will get you there. So it's just the value, how important it is to make goals for ourselves. There was a study done by a sociologist by the name of Dr. Edward Banfield of Harvard University. This study was done in 1970s. And this study, he was trying to figure out what makes people successful. And people were thinking, it could be their marital relationships, it could be that they were born into the right families, it could be that they're gifted, they're talented. There was a whole list of what he was thinking, but to his surprise, it was none of those things. And what it was that he discovered that the major reason for success was a particular attitude of the mind. And what he called it was long-term perspective. He called it long-term perspective. This is very crucial. This is a very crucial point over here, guys. He called it long-term perspective. So, for example, what is long-term perspective? If a person, for example, comes home, right, in the evening, and he sees his kids over there, and he decides to play with his kids, instead of going to watch TV, or he decides to spend some time with his wife, instead of going and reading the newspaper. This is a long-term perspective way of thinking, because the guy is thinking, I'm going to get very little benefit from what I'm going to do right now, reading the newspaper or watching TV, but my long-term perspective tells me that the future, I'll be able to spend some time with my kids, I'll be able to spend some time with my wife. This will be a much, much longer, and in Judaism, there's nothing better than looking at this from a long-term perspective, because we're not getting a reward just in this world, we're getting reward in the next world as well. So everything has to be looked at from a long-term perspective. If a person takes additional courses in the evening instead of going out to hang out with their friends because they want to improve themselves and they want to get to the next degree, that's long-term perspective. You guys see people sitting over here. They're sitting there, they're steiging away. It's like a pleasure to see these people. You know that those people have long-term perspective. If you look, why are doctors, lawyers, why are they respected people in their businesses? Because those people had long-term perspective. What makes them so valuable? It's because the person, when he was a young guy, he knew that by the age of 30, I'm going to finish, and he had that long-term perspective. He was there, he did it, he went through everything, and he had that long-term perspective, and he saw the future. That's why subconsciously, a lot of people don't even know this, but this is why they're respected. They're a very respected field because of that. So, basically, what I'm getting to, the key in setting priorities is long-term perspective. We have to know that there is a long-term perspective. We have to see it and we have to grab it. Okay. Now, everybody knows the famous saying, ready, aim, fire. Correct? Ready, aim, fire. If you guys read the book, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, he says over there, it's not ready, aim, fire, it's ready, fire, aim. Why ready, fire, aim? Because you just start. You take the target, you're ready, you fire, and then based on where it hit, you adjust yourself. People think over there, they're thinking over there for like their whole lives, and they don't get ever a chance to get to fire. They're always thinking about how they can get ready and aim, but they're never firing. He says over there, fire, and then based on the way it hits, you'll adjust yourself a little bit. There's a major concept over here. I'm just trying to touch a little bit on each, just like you can give a whole lecture on each one over here, but I'm just trying to give some points so you guys can take something home. Now, in terms of belief, if someone believes deeply that they'll never achieve learning, because the Torah is very vast, it's huge. It's like, it's endless basically. If a person believes that they will never learn Torah, they will never learn Torah. But in Masechta Megillah, as we were learning with Shumal back a long time ago, I remember this on Daf 6, it says over there that, to the contrary, it says that if a person does spend their time, they will succeed. Maybe you'll not succeed in business, you might put your effort there. Maybe you won't succeed in learning a specific sport. But it says in Masechta Megillah, on page 6, Daf 6, it says that if you try, you will succeed. You put that effort, you will succeed. Okay. So, to conclude that little thing over there, as Napoleon Hill says, what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And a lot of people have went to great lengths to understand this and to take this sentence and break it down into many different areas of their life. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Okay, so there we have limiting beliefs. Now, if you guys were here for that lecture with Rav, what's his name? Not Rav, but Nisan Yakubov. Nisan Yakubov was here and he gave that little cute story on the elephants. It's true. There are elephants that when they bring them up, they raise them, they put a stake in the ground and they tie it to a rope. And he talks about this also in the book Success Principles. He also talks about another thing that he mentions over there. They know the elephant tries to tug past that and he can't, because it can't get past. It's already taught that it can't get past a certain perimeter. Now, when the elephant is already a 14-ton colossal that could go through a building, it has the same ideas, has the same beliefs, because it knows that I'm limited to that stake in the ground and I know I can't get past it. It doesn't even try to break through it. It can snap it like a twig. It can snap it like a twig, but it doesn't even try because it has those limiting beliefs. And he knows, I have another nice story for you, he knows that's where my limit is. This is the same thing with people. We have to know that we're preconditioned in a certain way. Maybe it's because of advertising, maybe it's because the way you were brought up, maybe because of whatever. There's many different reasons, but you have to know that you can go past that. Nisan Yakubov once told me, we were sitting together a long time ago, I remember this like it was yesterday. He says, at the point when you come home and you think you're about to plot and you're about to you can't do anything else, he's like, we have so much built up energy that we can run for another 60 miles. At the point where you think you can't do anything else, you can run for another 60 miles. It's crazy. That's a major thing to think about. Okay. So basically, there was a little story, and what happened was, this kid gets into a car accident, and his hand is pinned under a wheel. I heard this story from Rabbi Schaefer, and actually it ties it into something else that I heard also. His hand was pinned under a wheel. Now all the onlookers are looking, and they're like, wow, what are we doing? And the ambulance can't do anything, police come, they can't do anything. They have to wait for the fire or whatever to come. One of the onlookers comes, picks up the car, everybody's like shocked, they take the kid out, and they're like, what the hell just happened? And then this story made such a big tararam in the whole media world that there was one guy by the name of Garfield, forget his first name, his last name was Garfield. He wrote a book, Peak Performance. And what he says in this book, the whole point of this book is to analyze people that do extraordinary things. Like for example, Roger Bannister. You guys know that story of Roger Bannister, and nobody could do the 4-minute mile. It was like thought of that it was physically impossible to do the 4-minute mile. Roger Bannister came and he did the 4-minute mile. Within that year, 26 people did the same thing. What happened to those people? Those people, it's not like we changed as people. Our beliefs just changed. If he can do it, I can do it. That's the only thing that changed. So back to that story. What happened was it made a big tararam in the whole media world. And this guy, he says, you know what? I got to get an interview from this lady. I have to see what's going on. He calls her, she doesn't pick up the phone. He calls her again, she doesn't pick up the phone again. She's just disregarding him. He's like, what the hell is going on? There's a big thing. Who was the lady? It was his 63-year-old grandmother that picked up the car and they took out the kid. 63-year-old grandmother. He's like, I have to see this lady. What happened? What changed in her mind that made her do this? So finally, after persevering for many months, he finally gets an interview with her. And what happens in that interview is he's like, the first thing he asks, he's like, listen, like this was a big thing that you did. Tell me something. How is it possible that you picked up a car? And my real question is, why didn't you even want to speak to me? I feel like a little bit, I feel bad that you didn't even want to talk to me. I want a simple interview. The lady tells him something unbelievable. She tells him that if I could have done that at the age of 63, what could I have done my whole life? What was I missing out on in my whole life? She's like, at that time, I thought those things anything was impossible. She's like, they didn't even come remotely close to where I needed to be in a mental state. It was the spur of the moment. I saw my grandchild there. I picked up the car, and I just thought to myself, what am I doing? What am I doing? What did I do my whole life? I didn't do anything. The guy got a sponsor for her. The lady went on, and she finished college. She became a professor in a university, and everything was all good and great. But the point over here is that we have so much potential within ourselves that we just don't know. We don't know our potential. So I'm just trying to bring out each person's potential. It's very, very important to learn. This is what actually spins the whole world. With the tsunami, what happened? It was told that with the tsunami that happened, that huge thing is because we weren't learning 1 second in the world, and the world stopped for a second. And it created like a vacuum effect. The world stopped to one side, and it's a little twitch, and that's what actually happened. The tsunami, it pulled itself and it let it out from the whole world, and that's how the huge wave came. So learning spins the world, guys. All right, fear. What's fear? Fear, guys. Fear is fantasized experiences appearing real. That's all it is, guys. That's all fear is. You gotta take fear and you gotta get rid of it, guys. There's so much fear out there that, what if I don't do this? What if I don't learn the whole Torah? Don't start about thinking about what you're gonna do learning the whole Torah. Start with page 1, guys. That's why when you start learning Gemara, if you guys see, it starts from page 2 because they're like, okay, the guy already went past page 1. He feels good. All right. As Nike says, just do it. Just do it. So guys, just start, please. Now, how do we start? We start with a little bit. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's very hard. You guys heard of that before? So, there was a story, very, very nice story, and it's like we can see the way people think based on this story, that our sages think on this story. Rabbi Akiva, this is the major story of Rabbi Akiva. He was sitting by a well. He goes and the thing is trickling down, and he sees, oh wow, this trickling down, and he made a hole. If the water can do that through the rock, and my heart is like, so imagine what the Torah can do to my heart. And that's a cute way of looking at it. That's a very cute way of looking at it. But the Vilna Gaon says something else, and it's amazing to see the way these people think. It's great just to learn Torah, just to see what these people say, the way they think, and the way their whole hashkafa on thinking is unbelievable. So what the Vilna Gaon says, he says that he saw this from a different perspective. And he asked the question, he says, if you were sitting by that well, by that spring, would you get affected? Would that make you go for 24 years to go learn, or 20 years, or whatever, 24 years to go learn, to go learn and leave your wife? We see miracles happening every day, but it doesn't affect us. This little incident affected him, and it affected everybody after him. So what he sees over here, what the Vilna Gaon sees, is that it wasn't one big blow that did it. It was a trickle of water. It was a drop. It was that first drop that did it. And each drop contributed to that hole. And he was like, if I'm already 40 years old, I can do this, Guys, we're all very young over here. We can achieve great things. Great things. If it's not in just success in life, it's success in Torah, it's success in anything. So please don't limit yourself. There's no drop, no matter how small, that does not affect. That doesn't affect. So that's exactly what he saw. He saw every drop, and each drop accounted for something over there. Now, a lot of people think that they're learning things. It doesn't cost it. It's not gonna go into effect anywhere. Everything that you do gets written down, whether it's for good or for bad. Everything gets written down, and everything is accounted for. Now, in terms of learning muscles, your learning muscles, they become stronger over the weeks and months. The concentration and your love for review will grow, and it will continue to grow. Over time, you'll see it's easier for you to start learning. In the beginning, it's hard. Actually, there's a Jack Canfield says this also in his book. Good book, by the way. He says over there, when a NASA rocket takes off, it uses a massive amount of energy to take off. This energy, a massive amount of fuel is used in just to get past the gravity of the pull of the Earth. Once they're already in the space, they can go. But a huge amount. This is the same thing in Torah learning, guys. We have to use our full energy to get past this first barrier. Once we get past that barrier, you'll be floating already. You'll go. It'll be easy. You won't need the same amount of fuel. So, Baruch Hashem, after Netz, and there's many other things that we have here in Bet Gabriel, but after Netz, I'm going to conclude over here. After Netz, we have, Baruch Hashem, 3 different people, 3 different groups. Now we have a new group with Shmuel. He's learning Gemara with the guys. We have with Rav Yochanan, we're learning several different things. And Rav Moshe Muretov, he has his own class on Halacha, Gemara, Navi, Chumash, anything you guys want. It's at your disposal, guys. And nobody's Daf Yomi also with Ruben and Rav Israel. Kabbalah with Ruben Molajanov. So basically, everything is at your disposal. If you guys think about it, we should be paying for these lectures. To the contrary, we're getting such a reward and we're not even paying for anything, guys. We have to know that we have everything at our disposal. I just can't imagine what's going to happen when we're going to come to Shamayim after 120 years. They're going to be like, listen, you had everything at your disposal. You didn't have to pay a dime, and you didn't use it. We'll have to answer for that. We will have to answer for that. So, in what's his name, Rav Jonathan Rieti, he says something very nice. He says, not how many hours of Torah you learn a day, it's how many minutes per hour that will make the difference. It's how many minutes per hour. You guys you see guys over here that learn. Unfortunately, they're so-called learning. They're really like drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. But how many minutes in an hour did they learn? That's really the test of perseverance. That's the test of perseverance. So, with that, education without application is worse than worthless. Hopefully, what I said over here will penetrate your hearts, and you guys will be able to move forward. You guys hear this? Education without application. If you have education and you're not applying it, it's worse than worthless. It's not worthless. It's worse than worthless. Okay, guys, remember this. Education without application is worse than worthless. I learned that from Floyd Wickman back when I was in the Holy Floyd Wickman, from when I was in sales. So hopefully we can take life by the horns and we can rip it apart, guys. I wanted to thank you guys. May we all get together on your Siyum Shas, Siyum Gemara, Siyum Chumash, and everything. Thank you. I'm going to continue. Rav Israel B'chaot.
I wrote down all the notes. All right, I'm sure people have to go to work, so I'm going to make it very short. Who was the great envisioner in the history of the Jewish people? The greatest? How do you know?
Shalom said it.
Shalom said it, right? What's the proof? He started at the age of 40. But he said this now, he doesn't know how powerful what the statement that he's saying. And Be'emet, I can prove it to you in a second how powerful Rabbi Akiva was, and that's why he was the greatest rabbi that we had. They say, if you would take all the water in the world to make it as an ink, all the wood in the world take it as a pen, and all the sky, all the heavens, make it as a parchment to write down the Torah, wouldn't be enough to write down his Torah. How could it be? Rabbi Akiva was an envisioner. He saw things different than everybody else. What was so different? Shalom. I asked the question, who was the greatest envisioner? You mentioned Rabbi Akiva before. Rabbi Akiva saw that drop going down. He did see it. But he saw more than that. He was an envisioner. He always looked what's going to be later on. When he said to his wife, Rachel, if you remember, if I would have the money, I would buy you Yishalayim Shel Zahav. He saw that vision that will happen one day. You understand? He saw that. When he went to learn for 40, at the age of 40, he looked at them and himself already that he's a big scholar. That was the difference between Rebbe Akiva and everybody else. He had a vision. When you have a vision, things will happen to you. You have goals, things will happen to you. If no goals, when I came over here to this place, honestly, I never believed in my life there's going to be something like this. 4 minyanim in one day, so many classes, kolel, at night, during the day. Who would believe in this? But you have to envision. And this will make Shalom a little bit different than everybody else. When I met Shalom, he is born on my birthday. And we're so different, but we're so much alike. It's unbelievable. He's more organized. As you see, everything is by him, structured. But he sees things, he set up himself a goal, and he goes with it. It's going to be tough, it's going to be hard, but he's persistent and consistent, and he makes it happen. Who would believe that to sit down like this today, and he's going to finish Torah twice? I thought it was only once. You surprised me. Twice? That's unbelievable. In such a short time. And they do learn. They're not playing around. This is the real deal. So Baruch Hashem, you see how much he changed, and actually he's changing everybody around him. When Shalom started his Envision, he had a little bit, off. He didn't go far away. Baruch Hashem, he came back. He did the same mistake that happened to a guy in the man time. When he used to give man in the desert, there was one guy decided he fed up with the man, and he wants to go somewhere else. He went to Moab, and he asked, can I have a nice barbecue, deer, something good? He said, hey, we have after the shechita, you're a Jew. He said, don't worry, I got my shochet over here, I have everything, the shechita, did everything, and Baruch Hashem, he brings this whole thing to his community, to tell guys, I got deer, barbecued, Bet Yosef, all good. They're sitting down and they're enjoying it, and they're like, wow, it's unbelievable. They say, let's go, everybody now going to get some deers also. They're about to go and see Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu asked them, guys, where are you going? They say, we're going to Moab to get some more deers because it's delicious, it's so good. And he says, you saying that the deers are good? Are you serious? You know why the deers are so good? Because what happened is a lot of people, they're embarrassed to go outside, it's the tzaddikim. They're embarrassed to go outside to look for their man because they made a scene yesterday. So they said to themselves, if I'm going to go outside and the man is not by me, people are going to ask me, how come you're not, what happened? No, today I have ta'anit chalom, they say. I have a little bit a problem, I had a bad dream, so I have ta'anit chalom. Because they're embarrassed to go. So what happened is, they do teshuvah that day, they don't eat, and the next day they're okay. So a lot of man remains on the floor. And what happened to the man? It says it becomes like a river, like water. And then the deer comes in and drinks from the man, and that's how he has the good taste. So Moshe Rabbeinu is telling them, you are eating the leftovers of the man, not the real thing. So Shalom, for a lot of years, he went all around to ask all these people and learn. That's not, it's not good, it's great. But the real thing is the Torah. Now Baruch Hashem, one day he woke up and he says, you know what? What am I doing? I'm putting so much effort and time. And understand, Shalom was learning books and audio tapes. And I know because I was with him. And I took some information from him. Baruch Hashem, he made me a big speaker because of that. I learned from him. I learned from his books, from audio tapes. But in the end, Baruch Hashem, now he found out the real man. And the real man, this is the Torah. And you see, anything that they say out there already, most likely somebody said in the Jewish world. Did already. Most likely. Maybe once in a while you hear a nice thing. Don't get me wrong. But in the end, he found that. And Shalom, even in his email, you don't even see it, but I got his email for this party, and look how he's structured, but he's also a visioner. And that's what I like about him. Look at this. This is the email that he says. Rabotai, come into the thing, but in the end he says, breakfast will be served, there's a time, 5:30, 7 o'clock, Bet Gabriel Netz, 3rd floor. Future plans. Anybody read this? Future plans. It didn't finish over here, not to we're done. Future plans. Going forward, we have big plans to name a few of them. Delve into Rashi, main commentator on the Torah. Learn Hebrew. Go through the Siddur and prayers. Know what you are reading. Learn the prophets, Navim. Experience Shechita firsthand in practice. This is the future, guys. He has an envision. And you continue. Learn to tie Yom Tutzit, class benefits, exclusions, I don't know what does that mean, and much, much more. All right, but bottom line, he has an envision, and this is what makes Shalom to be, as they say, a lot of people over here are great, but the people are greater. Why? Because they have an envision. And each one of us, it's Shalom. I'm telling you, each one of us, just what? It didn't come out of a shell yet. Because every Jew potentially is a diamond. It's a gem. You just have to, cut a little bit the corners, and you're going to come out. When Reuben started Torah anytime, he didn't know what it's going to be, right? Started as a little kid, I'm going to take a video. Today about that Torah anytime becomes huge. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people watching it all around the world. Who would believe a Bukharian kid from Bet Gabriel going to do this? But this is how Envision, it starts. Google today is the biggest thing. YouTube is the biggest thing. What happened? Somebody started an idea. And each and one of us have this thing inside of us. When I came into this community, honestly, I am not a speaker. I'm a shy guy. I cannot speak in front of a crowd. I got married to my wife. Somebody told me, now you're going to bring your best potential in you. Like, be all what you can be in our minute, right? That's what they told me. You're going to be now. I said, what are you talking about? I'm a simple guy. Leave me alone. No, I'm very shy. And I came over here. I realized there is a need. So somebody came around and asked me, can you teach us, please? That's how it started with one guy. His name was Solomon. He brought his friend, Mike. He brought his friend, this. And Baruch Hashem, today, look at this. The place is flourishing. It's not me. It just happened to be I was in the right time, in the right place. And that's what happened with Shalom and Reuben and everybody else over here. You have to envision what you want to do next. I'm so lucky and fortunate to be surrounded with people like Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Moshe Moratov. You know, this is what makes us continue. They're giving us the engine. Because when I see them, honestly, I'm jealous. But it's a good jealousy. I see them, I say, they're learning, they're meant putting. I'm more in the business world, but I'm jealous because I see them, they're serious, they're real guys. They're learning, they're meant from the bottom of the heart. And when you see people like this, you're being inspired. You understand that, the deer from Moab is not the real thing. You want to go to real Behemet, they eat the real man. And over Zet Hashem, I'll be benefiting with you guys, also sitting down and learning the way you do, guys. All day long with Zet Hashem, we'll be able to learn and teach. And Zet Hashem, with your merit, please say amen. I should come to this day with Hashem. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I want to say good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us in such a happy event. I'm sure. I've never been really in a Siyum like this. Actually, that I completed with a few of my friends, I should say. I want to say thank you very much, first of all, to the Rabbi for bringing a lot of new information, even though I thought I knew. It's just, you read the same thing over every year, and you learn something new every year. It's a very, I don't know, it's a very, how can I say, the book, the Chumash, as many times as you read it, you'll learn something new every time you read it. I want to tell you. I want to say something. I want to say actually thank you to Rabbi Israel for. If it wasn't for you, Rabbi, I wouldn't be here in this building today. I want to say a little story. I came in about four and a half years ago with one of my friends, Eddie, to pray in the morning. And as I was walking out, the rabbi asked me, he's like, Mike, why don't you come a little more often? I don't know. I told him, listen, I don't want to come by myself. I don't feel comfortable coming. I want to go. If my friend would call me every day, I would go. Then that day, I left the building. I was thinking, wow, what a stupid answer I gave him. I'm just thinking to myself, how can I say something like that? I don't want to go to shul by myself. What, I need somebody to take me by the hand to shul? So then he said, you know what? From tomorrow on, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to keep going to shul every morning. And thank God, from that day, I've been coming to shul every morning.
No.
So I want to say thank you very much for that. Another thing I want to say. I want to say thank you to my friend Shalom for being such a good friend, cousin, somebody I could look up to. I could actually take a lot of, learn a lot from. From all the self-help books that you read, all the like how you are yourself. You're very ambitious. I really like that in person. I like quick people. I don't know. I really respect that about you. That if something comes to your head, you get it done right away. I really like that. What can I say? I want to say thank you very much to everybody. And one more thing I wanted to add. I'm sorry. One thing. I wanted to add the only reason why I came to shul is because of the rabbi and because he pushed me. You guys said that it's very important to take something like to learn. Don't stop learning. You always got to learn, but don't forget you always have to help somebody else. The thing that got me here is that I had that little push. Always give a little push to anybody you can. I think it's really important to give one of your friends a little push that you see he's lacking a little bit. It's always very important to give your friend a little push. So that's basically what I wanted to finish off on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
We're saying before Mincha, we say one line. This line, what made me to speak today. We say, למנצח על הגיתי לבני כוח, מזמור, etc., etc., etc. Then we get to one line. ילכו מחיל אל חיל, יראה אל אלוהים בציון. אדוני אלוהים צבאות שמע תפילתי, האזינה אלוהי יעקב סלע. I took an English book, so I'm not going to mistranslate this. They should go from strength to strength and appear before God at Zion. Hashem, God, Master of hosts, hear my prayers. Listen, God of Yaakov, Selah. The Halacha, this is a Gemara, and it also brought down in Halacha, that a person, after he comes, אחרי שיצא מבית הכנסת, ילך לבית המדרש, ויקבע עת ללמוד, וצריך שאותו עת יהיה קבוע, שלא יעבירנו, אף אם הוא סבור להרוויח הרבה. A person, after he finishes praying, is supposed to go to בית המדרש, and he's supposed to establish himself time to learn Torah, and this time is supposed to be established. I mean, don't change this time, even if you think that you will make a lot of money for that time. Interesting, the language of Maran over here. Afilu im yachshov belivo. Even if you will think that you will make a lot of money. Even if, bottom line, you're going right now to sign up a big deal. Few signatures. That's it. The deal is done. But still, what Maran tells you, even if you think you make a lot of money. Because it's only a thought. If you're doing business on top of instead of learning Torah, at the time that you have established for Torah, you're only thinking you're going to make money. That's what Maran says. אפילו יחשוב, אפילו אם הוא סבור להרוויח הרבה. He doesn't say אפילו ירוויח הרבה. אפילו אם הוא סבור להרוויח הרבה. Even if you think you're going to make a lot of money. That's a nice joke over here that Maran brings over here. Now, we say ילכו מחיל אל חיל. Over here it says that if a person, whenever a person learns Torah, היוצא מבית הכנסת, נכנס לבית המדרש, הגמרא in מסכת ברכות says, ועוסק בתורה, זוכל ומקבל פני השכינה. He will be meriting off to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to how do you say it? Feel the divine presence. That's what it says. It's not for a reason. It will say that whoever prays net, he feels a divine presence. Why is it like that? Because after you pray net, you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time. What are you going to do? You're going to learn Torah. So from Elachu Mechail El Chai L'Irael Elohim B'Tzion. If you learn go from one strength praying to another strength learning, what's the next continuation of the pasuk? Irael Elohim B'Tzion. Now, I was saying, why does it says Vayelchu Mechail El Chai? Strength in Hebrew means koach. Why the pasuk over here says Chai? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu mamash connect to two things. We say in Birkat Hamazon, whenever we are being hosted by someone, Barech Hashem Chelo Ufa'al Yadav Tirtzeh. Nachon? Hashem, you should bless his Chelo. What does it mean Chelo? His monetary things. Whenever his business things, his house, whatever he has, investments. Hashem, you should bless him in his monetary things. So this one time when we see the word Chayil, Barech Hashem Chelo. Another word, where do we see Chayil? Eshet Chayil Meimtza Verachok Mipninim Eshet Chayil. What does it mean? What does it mean Chayil? Over here it says Vayelechu Mechayil El Chayil Yirael Elohim Etzion. Who is being rewarded to have one Chayil? Means good success in life. Doesn't necessarily mean more money. Means that you have bracha in whatever money you have. Vayelechu Mechayil. To what? To another Chayil. To Eshet Chayil. Who is it? The one that learns to praise, and after this immediately goes and learns. That's what the pasuk says. Yilechu mechayil el chayil l'irael Elohim etzion. And that's what the Gemara says. Whenever a person learns Torah, he becomes a better person. We asking in the pasuk, Eshet Chayil mi imtza. Who is going to find Eshet Chayil? You know what's the answer? Ish Chayil. And how do you become Ish Chayil? By fulfilling this Torah. By fulfilling this pasuk. By Yilechu mechayil, you're praying net. Then what are you going to do? You're going to learn and establish some Torah time. So now you're asking, Eshet Chayil mi imtza. You're going to be mitzvah. You know how? By learning Torah. The Torah is the only subject that a person learns is not only knowing it, he's being changed by that. You learn math, you can be perfect in math, but it's not going to mean that you're going to be a better person. You know geometry, you know any subject in the world. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a better person. Only one subject in the world that you learn, and you're going to become a better person. And then what? Okay, I'm going to become a better person. Then what? You become Ish Chayil. Ish Chayil deserves Eshet Chayil. And if you already have Eshet Chayil, if you already are married, yeah, Rabbi, I didn't find my Eshet Chayil yet. this Eshet, that's this Isha, will be Eshet Chayil. Why? Because it says, Ish v'Isha shezachu, Shechina b'nehem. Man and woman that are zachu. What does it mean, zachu? Are rewarded. But Hebrew language is so beautiful that doesn't only mean zachu, rewarded, it also means zachu from the word lezakech, zach. Zach means purified. Ish ve'isha shezachu, that purify themselves, shechina b'nehem. How are you going to purify yourself? What's the tool to purify yourself? This is the Torah. And that's what it says, shechina b'nehem. Why? Because you're fulfilling the pasuk, ve'elchum mechayil el chayil, yara el Elohim, you will see shechina. How are you going to see shechina? By learning Torah right after you pray. That's this is the importance of coming to pray nets. Because this is the only time basically in the day that allows you to learn after, which is Netz Minyan. That's what we say whenever a person learns to praise nets, he will feel the divine presence. Because after this, he will go learn Torah and then he will go to his business. That's the next halakha, kuf nun vav. Achar kach yilech la'asakav. And then it says the chol Torah she'enim ha'melacha, etc., etc., etc. The first halakha is, if you're praying, right after this, you're supposed to go learn Torah. Be participating in any class you like, any way that your neshama gets connected to. Is it halakha? Is it gemara? Is it chumash? Is it gemara kabbalah? Anything that you're going to, that's what a person's supposed to go and learn Torah. Bottom line, just learn. This too, huh?
Wherever your soul pulls you.
Whenever your soul pulls you. That's why whenever a person gets this, what is he going to be rewarded with? Eshet Chayil. And what is he going to be rewarded to? Baruch Hashem. Hello. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.
Wow. It's great to be here. Great to be here. Thank you everyone for coming. It's a pleasure to see unity. It's a pleasure to see Achdut within our community. And Baruch Hashem, we had the merit to finish Siyum Chumash with Rav Yochanan. Thank you so much for being with us. Rav Yochanan wakes up very early every morning and he drives out here just to give us a short class, if you will, about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on when our Shacharit finishes. So thank you so much for taking this small but long journey early in the morning and to be with us. We really appreciate it. This is actually one of the first classes that I was able to actually stick through. I tried to learn in the past and it never really worked out for me. I started and I stopped. It's been the system, I guess, wasn't there. And this is what this class brings to us. It brings us a system that helps us learn much better and helps us to retain information on a much longer level. And like Rav said, that this is what it's all about. It's about reviewing. It's not just about learning it once and forgetting the information. It's about having our books, our notes with us to be able to review in the future. And as Judaism is built in general, we're supposed to pass this down to our children. This is more important than anything else. Now, as Shalom was saying earlier, he mentioned a couple of things on success principles and successful people. He's actually one of the people that actually got me into reading about others who became successful, secular people. But if you actually think about it, the Torah that we have today, it gives us a beautiful, beautiful foundation, and it gives us certain principles that we can take with us and apply it to the other parts of our lives. And a lot of people actually don't know that, but I've been studying, people who have been successful in the past about a year to a year and a half. So I'm a newbie in the subject, but I've come across something very interesting, and it ties very well into the Torah actually. There's one aspect, there's one small principle that separates success people from people that are not really successful, and it's they have certain success habits that other people don't have. And over time, they were able to build these habits, and these habits became a part of them that everything started happening, everything started becoming easier for them to do in the future. So once you have a habit that's within you, it becomes much easier for you to accomplish something that you want to accomplish. So there's something within our brain, for those of you who have studied science, it's called the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia is a part of our brain that stores our habits. So there were small studies done a
a mouse that's put in a certain compartment, and they want the mouse to reach its goal. So they put a cheese on one end of the structure. It could be like a rectangle, or it could be an L-shaped structure. And they have a gate, and behind the gate is a mouse. And right next to the gate there's a bell. So whenever the bell rings, the gate opens up, and the mouse needs to run towards its destination and get the food, the cheese, whatever. It could be anything. So once they run these tests over time, 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, the first time that the mouse runs, it starts going in a wavy motion because it doesn't know where the destination is. So it starts looking for it. Over time, as soon as the mouse hears the bell, the gate opens up, it automatically starts running towards destination without even thinking about it. And this is a mouse. Now our brains are much, much more developed. What does this tell us? That over time, if you start doing something, it becomes nature, becomes a part of you. The other great aspect to this is that the more it becomes a part of you, the less energy that your body and your brain has to utilize to get to it. Now that's very important. Throughout the day, we go about doing many things. We're learning, we're working, we're studying, we're taking care of our family. We're being drained of energy. Once we learn how to develop certain habits that'll help us throughout our life, we're gonna use less energy for those parts of it, and we're gonna be able to store the energy and release it and use it for the important parts that we need to do. Now, how does this tie into the Torah? What does the Torah teach us as we're young people? It teaches certain habits as we grow up. It teaches us to wake up early in the morning. It teaches us to go and pray. It teaches us to spend time with our family. It teaches us to learn on a consistent basis. Now, an ordinary person might not think, how does this apply to me being successful at work or doing something else? It actually does apply, because studies have been done and shown that whenever a person develops certain habits and becomes great at something, those habits transfer to other parts of their lives. So these principles that become instilled within us, learning, waking up on time, being punctual, learning how to read, learning, the oral Torah, learning Chumash, learning Gemara, over time, these habits will transfer to other parts of our lives. And this is, if you look at the world today, why are Jewish people so successful? It's because the Torah, first of all, has something holy within it, and it instills certain things within us. Now, I'd like to touch upon this week's Torah portion. We have the second part of it is Kedoshim. What does this Torah portion tell us? It gives us certain positive and negative mitzvot, and it tells us do this, don't do that, do this, and don't do that. But then, actually, in the beginning, Hashem tells Moshe to tell over to the people that you shall be holy people. Now, what does it mean to be a holy people, holy nation? I was listening to Rabbi Schaefer's shiur on this, and he said a person can observe every part of the Torah, observe every single mitzvah, but still be a glutton. Now, what does that mean? For example, the Torah tells us we're allowed to eat certain foods, we're not allowed to eat certain foods, certain animals. Now, a person can eat kosher animals, but he can eat them excessively, and he's going to become a glutton. So the Torah teaches us how to have a balance in our life. Do this, but do this to a certain point where you don't excessively do something. Be careful, watch your mouth, be holy. When you pray to Hashem, make sure, it's not only for you to be holy with Hashem, you also have to be holy within other members of society as well. Every time that we say something, every time, when we speak about someone else, we always have to watch ourselves. This is what the Torah teaches us. The Torah teaches us how to be human beings, how to prove upon ourselves on a consistent basis. Now, this studying that we do here with Rav Yochanan, I believe is so important because, as we mentioned earlier, that because it's such a systematic way of learning, we can get a lot more accomplished. We're starting with the Chumash now, we're doing a little bit, we're doing Nevi'im, we're doing Shulchan Aruch, and over time, I believe we can accomplish a lot more. Because there's a system that's advised. Once a system is in place, it's much easier to accomplish something. So I'm very happy to be part of this learning. Thank you, Rav Yochanan. Thank you, Rav Israel. Anyone who helped put the group together. Shalom for being the perfectionist. We need someone like you here. It's very important. At least one. And Be'ezat Hashem we're gonna grow, and it's important because we're all learning here from each other. The other part that the Torah teaches us is you always have to surround yourself with good people, with smart people, with intelligent people. There's a saying that you become the medium of the 5 people that are around you. The Torah tells us to do this all the time. It always tells us to surround ourselves with Rabbeim, with people who are who are very knowledgeable, who are going to be able to give over that musar to you, who are going to teach you good and holy things, and over that it's going to become a part of you. You're going to surround yourself with those people. It's going to become a part of you. We're a product of our society. We're a product of our environment. So, with great pleasure, I'm very, very happy to be here. I encourage anyone who does not learn now to participate in some type of learning. Hopefully, a systematic way of learning where we can you write notes and you highlight. And again, thank you very much. And this is a great opportunity for everyone. Let's all keep learning.